Good day, I'm Junior Researcher Adam Southgate, working under Senior Researcher Dr. Jenkins. This is the Order of Merlin's 7th training video for new and old hunters. Like last time, we will begin with general announcements. The Order is putting out a general request for used MMBs, specifically ones that have been through the full effect of an eldritch being. The hope is that they may be of use incapacitating vampires by flooding their empathic senses. In that vein, we'd also like you to live capture vampire targets as subjects we can safely test our theory upon. But please, do not attempt this experiment yourselves. Mixing 2, or in this case, 3 spheres together can be extremely dangerous and should only be attempted under safe laboratory conditions. And finally, a special job listing has become available requiring a 20-man team of journeyman rank hunters or higher. Only strong swimmers, though, may apply. A Faya Fank has been spotted making its territory in the Llewellyn Reservoir within the Brecon Beacons. Obviously a rather massive beast being classed as a dragon, the Welsh Assembly government has authorised the use of explosives in dealing with the creature. A large area around the reservoir has been closed off to the public under the cover story of an SAS military drill, so we'd appreciate the matter being dealt with as soon as possible, not to arouse anyone's interest. Due to the high degree of danger inherent in dealing with such a target, the reward has been set to a suitable degree of compensation. Now then, today we'll be covering the Abomination Sphere's bursters and our standard protocol for dealing with an infected individual. The bursting worm, or simply bursters for short, is an abomination parasite with both an interesting and horrifying life cycle. Within this life cycle, bursters have 3 distinct stages. To begin with, the larval stage, where they measure the same size as a human red blood cell. At this stage, they are devoid of physical features, being only a small cluster of stem cells tightly packed together waiting to reach their target location where they will develop into pupa. At the beginning of the pupa stage, they will begin to feed en masse with their siblings, growing to roughly 10 centimeters in length at the apex of the pupa stage. Very worm-like in appearance, hence the name, they become a tan-brown in color with 3 black spines protruding from either side of their bodies. Even at this early point in their pupa stage, they develop their thorn-like proboscis, which at this point is only capable of cutting through soft tissue, but later will be capable of scraping its way through bone. Once they've reached the apex of their pupa stage, their parent will pilot them to their preferred adult feeding ground, where they will violently emerge, seeking their safe chosen environment, which will be their home for the rest of their lives. Once they have safely entered their new host body, they will slowly feed, growing into their adult stage, where they will reproduce asexually and the cycle will begin again. Once their young has left the host, they will die along with it. Their job complete. If looked at from the human perspective, the true horror of this organism becomes quickly apparent. We'll shift our perspective to that of a fictional man, which we will call Jack. To begin with, in a 10-minute window of time that Jack has no memory of, a burster pupa entered his body through the skin of his ankle. Leaving only a mild bruise, the young pupa sealed the wound behind itself with an incredibly fine silk, almost indistinguishable from human skin. The pupa, while excreting a local anesthetic, moved up Jack's body to the base of his spine, a process taking weeks to complete. During this stage, Jack, apart from a small bruise which he quickly dismissed, has noticed nothing. Once the pupa has reached the lowest part of his spine, it will begin to transform into its adult form, growing thin tendrils that connect directly to Jack's nervous system, bypassing the lower parts of his spinal column. Once connected, the adult burster will slowly begin to feed upon the spine, growing to replace the missing sections with itself. Jack will unfortunately notice only a sharp pain in his lower back, which he believes is a trapped nerve, while the burster takes up the job of relaying messages from Jack's brain to his lower body. As the burster slowly grows, it will replace more and more of Jack's spine. All the while, Jack is completely oblivious to the fact that he now relies on the burster for his very life. Once the burster reaches the very base of Jack's brain, two things will simultaneously happen. The burster will release its larval young into Jack's bloodstream while also cutting Jack's control over his own body. Unfortunately, Jack's final days will not be happy ones, the burster larva being carried to Jack's brain within his blood. Here the larva will feed while Jack slowly and quite literally loses his mind. Meanwhile, the adult burster will pilot Jack's body to a relatively secluded spot within a densely populated area. Once enough of the pupa release a chemical signal into Jack's bloodstream to let their parent know they have reached the apex of their pupa stage, the adult will begin piloting Jack to the area with the heaviest human foot traffic it can find. Once located, the now completely vacant-eyed Jack will stand stock still amongst a crowd while the adult burster releases its pheromones into Jack's bloodstream, giving the signal to his young. The pupa will then force their way through Jack's eyes, nostrils, mouth, and ears, which is where their name comes from, while the adult burster will release a potent amnestic into the air while now blindly piloting Jack away from the scene before both dying shortly after. The pupa, however, will race along the grounds at speeds of 5 to 6 miles per hour straight to their own human hosts, excreting their own liquid form of the amnestic as they enter. The amnestic gas the parent released from Jack's body and the amnestic liquid the pupa released into their victim's body erases the previous 9 minutes and 37 seconds from the memories of everyone who came into contact with them. Jack's now corpse will continue to slowly give off the amnestic, making it near impossible for anyone to find the body for at least 3 hours. The most sinister aspect of this whole scenario is the scores of people already doomed, who check the time and think to themselves, "Oh, that's flown by." Sadly, and somewhat distressingly, our options are rather limited when dealing with this parasite. Early detection of an outbreak is our only recourse, monitoring CCTV cameras 24/7 within cities and tracking down possibly infected individuals. Even then, however, the outlook for these people isn't altogether very optimistic, with the very best case scenario being the loss of an entire limb, and the worst being involuntary euthanasia. However, even with this, individuals slip through the cracks and new outbreaks take place with on average 1 every 5 years, especially when new incursions are taken into account. When it comes to hunters' direct involvement in dealing with bursters, I'm afraid you won't find any contracts for them. Instead, we offer part-time work either on the monitoring team or the collection team, both of which offer a decent wage to help fill the gaps between more standard contracts. But there you have it. The Abomination Sphere's bursting worms, one of the multiple more standard, less exciting threats we deal with on a daily basis. Before I finish, I'd like to reiterate that we really could do with more people picking up shifts with the collection team, but especially the observation team. I realise it doesn't pay nearly as well as standard contract work, however, both are incredibly understaffed at the moment and we rely on you to do the right thing in aiding the protection of whales. With Arthur's might and Merlin's wisdom, thank you.